Ah, the young six. So nice to catch up with them again. But if I'm being frank, this episode wasn't all that bad. Certainly not as bad as episode 3. And the reason for this episode not being that bad is simple. It basically follows the plot of My Fair Lady.
I think she's got it. I think she's got it.
The weather is quite agreeable today.
By George, she's got it. By George, she's got it.
But references alone can't save an episode, especially when this sort of episode, in essence, has been done before numerous times. Yes, the show is back to recycling ideas and themes. How fun! I understand why the writers do it. The show's been going on for 9 seasons after all, but the whole time watching this episode, I was thinking of other episodes that did the same things a lot better. Although, while I do find it repetitive, it's not entirely pointless. The episode exists to teach Yona not to pretend to be someone she's not, just to impress others and try to fit in.
You look so weird!
And again, I have to be frank, Yona and the young six aren't the ones I have trouble with in this episode. I have trouble with the main 6. The main 6 have learned this lesson over and over again, so they should know better. But instead of being responsible adults, and teachers no less, they encourage Yona's behavior. Going by this episode itself, the main 6, especially Rarity, saw that Yona was struggling with becoming more pony-like, but they just pushed it further and further. I know Yona wanted to embrace the pony culture and stuff, but Twilight said in the beginning of the episode that this was something different. This was a dance for not only ponies, but for all creatures. So when Yona tells Rarity that she wants to be more like a pony, she should have been the responsible mentor and talked with Yona about how she shouldn't try to be someone else to feel accepted and that she's already accepted the way she is. I understand that the main 6 needed to act the way they did in order to further the story, but I don't think dumbing down or regressing the characters of the main 6 for the sake of the plot is justified. That's just lazy writing. And while on the topic of making stuff up for the plot, what the heck is a fetlock fet? If I'm taking it literally, it's a celebration of their fetlock joints. But in all seriousness, I think it would have been fine if the fet ended with a name. But I'm afraid the episode had to emphasize the fact that, though it's never been mentioned at all in the past 8 seasons, it's one of Ponyville's oldest traditions? Everyone seems to actively know about this fetlock fet and act as if it's always been a thing. It's a minor complaint I have, but I stand by it. It could have used some explanation. You can't just pay lip service to something that hasn't even been established. Also, I don't appreciate this episode using the final shot of Season 5 as a random background. It kind of feels disrespectful to the Season 5 finale, and it cheapens such a wonderful closing shot. That may sound arbitrary, but the final pan out at the end of Season 5 is one of the greatest moments in this entire show, and by using a still of it in such a meaningless way really irks me. Nevertheless, the song surrounding this shot was actually pretty good. You know, is it just me, or are the songs in MLP just not as good as they once were? They're not bad in any way, they're better than a lot of songs from other shows, but they're just not as good as they used to be. I think holding these newer songs to as high a standard as the earlier songs from Season 1 through 4 is detrimental though. I should just enjoy the songs for what they are. Again, I do like this song. I'm mainly speaking of the song from Episode 3 and most of the songs from Season 8. And while I'm on the topic of positives, I want to clarify my stance on the whole pink tree crystal thing that reminds me of Caraskalathon. I don't hate it like I made it seem in my other video, I just don't like where it's situated. I think it actually looks quite good, and even more so now having got a better look at it in this episode. But why does it have to be smack dab in the middle of the castle of the 2 sisters? If it was right outside in the Everfree Forest itself, I would have been fine with it. But they just had to desecrate this castle, didn't they? And in all honesty, this pink crystal treehouse thing looks better than Twi's castle ever did. But I digress. Regardless of its troubles, this episode isn't bad at all. I'm definitely biased against anything concerning the young 6, but putting bias aside and looking at this episode objectively, it's actually quite decent. And you know what? This might just be my favorite young 6 episode. I still stand by all my criticisms, but I can look past them and see that this episode, when isolated, isn't bad. Yep, Season 9 did the unthinkable. It made me not hate the young 6. Truly a miraculous season. Anyway, thanks for attending my Pastel Pony seminar this week. Have a great day.